So let's kind of circle here. And when we're talking about the people we're hiring, how do we find them and do the right thing? Because you could be pretty and nice, and we know you're on your best behavior the first interviews and first 30 days before the honeymoon's over and the horns pop out, right?
Right, right. The funny thing is, and I'll give them a little plug real quick here. And this is really years ago now, but the original owner of Zappos,
You should come back.
his original setup was at 6 months, they would pay you to leave. They would basically offer you $1 to leave the company because his whole statement was, and I had the opportunity to meet him long ago, but was if you want to be here, then I can't pay you to leave. You're going to want to be here so bad that no matter what I offer you, you will want to stay.
Mm,
And so I did never really do that, but I can say I work in healthcare, so there's been a shortage or a crisis in hiring staff forever. Your number one goal is to become the employer of choice in the area. And that takes time and that takes leadership. But the truth is, on the holy world of the internet, you put a job offering out there, you get 1,000. This is what I tell young people. If you're listening today, don't just throw your resume out there in the bunch. You got to make an email. You got to find the contact. You need to talk to anyone you know who might know someone who knows someone, because through
that's
that
it.
maze of people, and you are right, if they are the very best they can be on their resume, and my gosh, we have AI now, so you have no excuse for not doing a great resume. It's in all the free tools or in the interview. Now, granted, some people don't interview well, but I'm always me personally, and I guess we had around 700 or 800 employees at one time. A
Yikes.
service organization, you have to hire a lot of people. Have I made some mistakes? Yes. But the more you can know, the more you can ask questions, of course, that are legal, but ask questions that ask that person to think, not just to answer, but to think. Give them a scenario. What would you do if these things happened? So otherwise, you don't know if they can, how would you problem solve a problem?
Yeah. I know that's a
You
huge problem in hiring people because they think, oh, I've got a skill set, but the generation that's growing up now, they don't have personal skills, you know.
right,
It's all done
right.
on the computer and the internet. And I look at my son and daughter and see that, my daughter's better, but my son is like he's just very difficult in his personal skills. But yeah, you have to find the right people that can solve and do the problems and navigate with
Talk to
the with
people.
with the external and internal people that they're working
Right,
with, right?
right. I always say you have internal customers, which are your employees, and external customers, which are the people paying you.
Yes,
Um, so you have to have a relationship with both.
I love it. I love it. So there's no easy answer to hiring those. But I think that when you're looking at this kind of thing and you're thinking, what kind of person are you? I can teach most people a skill, right?
Right.
But I can't teach you to be a good person. That's something that's natural with you and especially in the healthcare space where you want them to be caring individuals that are very detail oriented, but they can have empathy and engagement and hold someone's hand when the time is needed and where the last thing you want them doing is going, "Ugh, okay, take my hand and God, well, so I was having this thing with so and so, and you have this conversation over there, which gives no appearance of empathy or caringness for the person that you're talking to. So those kind of things you can't teach, but I can teach a skill. So it's
Exactly. And you do, I will have to say, and you mentioned it with Gen Z and with millennials, we've especially the
we raise
younger.
monsters.
They exactly. But they've grown up in a digital world, and so they're very comfortable with all digital things, but they're not as comfortable sitting in front of someone,
Mhm.
having, a conversation. They're much more comfortable with being on their phone or some other device. And so that some of that you will have to say this is how we have to live. But some of it you have to look for the core of the person.
Mm,
Are they going to fill the core of the need that you have before you?
mm. Always a challenge. And I think it's going to be a challenge even more going forward, finding the right kind of people that we want on our team, right? Because if I'm thinking I'm hiring somebody and I want them to do something, but I also need them to think critically and have come to me with not just the problem, but the solution they think that would be there. I personally am looking to hire entrepreneurial kind of people because those kind of people are going to be thinking on their feet and how can I make this better and faster and in my case more profitable, right? For the company
Right.
as a whole. And I want to train and engage and grow these people to where they're going to want to leave me and go start their own company and walk off with skills and go, thanks, Marcia, you gave me the things I needed. That's my kind of philosophy that I'd want. And I know not every company is the same, especially in the healthcare space. That's not necessarily the skill set you want, but I think as the leader, as the hire of the company, you have to, like you mentioned, know what skill sets you're hiring for and what can be trained and what just needs to be a natural feeling that they have to have about themselves when you bring them on.
Well, and I also think some people, especially with experience, have been burned out there with poor leadership. And you have to earn